Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I promised, I have the coolest agent in the world, the #1 speaker agent on the planet. Bruce Merrin is going to be with me. Now, here's the thing. We're going to go through some stories about Michael Landon. We're going to go through some about Peyton Manning. We're going to go through some old Hollywood and old Vegas and now New Vegas and what's going on there and what it's like to go through UCLA Film School, which I think is totally cool. Now, if you want to see what Bruce is up to and be part of Bruce's life and his speaker bureau, CelebritySpeakersEntertainment.com. Bruce, thank you so much for dropping by.
Hey, Scott, thank you so much. I love that hat. Man, that is really stylish. It's the cover.
Thank you, sir. I got to get you one. Now, coming out of the gate, I want to talk to you. You've got a post on Facebook this morning about a dear friend of yours and his daughter. Can you tell us what's up with that?
Oh, absolutely, Scott. One of my favorite clients of all time is Michael Landon, and he was one of my first clients. This goes back like 42 years. And then, of course, thanks to Michael Landon, he introduced me, Scott, to his eldest daughter, Ferrell Landon. And Ferrell has been a client for over 30 years, and we've been booking speaking engagements for Ferrell for, basically over 3 decades. And she had a book that was a tribute to her dad, and we did all the national publicity on that. So I love Michael Landon, and I love Ferrell Landon. So thank you.
In the book, it's called I Promised My Dad. Can you give me some snippets on what's in the book?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the many things, and again, it was such a loving relationship that Ferrell had with her dad, but there was a story that really turned her whole life and her relationship with Michael, even though it was always great. She was a freshman at the University of Arizona, and they were at a fraternity sorority party, and unfortunately that night, some of the fraternity boys were unfortunately drinking a little bit too much. And after that party, they all got into one of those old Volkswagen Bugs. Remember those Volkswagen Bugs?
Oh, yeah.
So they got in the Volkswagen Bug. She was in the back seat. The young man who was driving the car was driving way, way, way too fast. They got into a terrible, terrible accident. 3 of the kids in that car died, Scott. They died. Wow. She was in the hospital for quite a long time, but her dad left the set of Little House on the Prairie and kept visiting her at the hospital. So their relationship really bonded during that terrible tragedy. They were so close anyway. So unfortunately, when Michael died, he was only 56 from pancreatic cancer. Wow. She dedicated her life after her dad's death to keeping his memory alive. And that's why the name of the book is called I Promised My Dad, because he was given a promise by Ferrell when he was almost dying that she was going to keep his memory alive for a lifetime. And so it was a very loving story. So thank you for mentioning that. We just booked Ferrell Landon for a speaking engagement a couple of months ago in California, and she does a great job. So I always like talking about Michael and Ferrell because the Landon family just means so much to me, Scott.
And let me stay with this. Let me go ahead and give you that book again. I Promised My Dad. It's by Ferrell Landon. You can probably go to Amazon. Are there particular places we can get it, or Amazon the best place?
Amazon is certainly a good place to go. Yeah, the paperback was published by Pocket Books. The hardcover was Simon & Schuster, but it's really a loving, wonderful tribute to Michael. So anyway, thank you for mentioning that, Scott.
Oh, yeah, and let me stay with Michael for a second. You guys were very close. How did the two of you meet again? Because I love to hear this story.
Well, I was very, very blessed. When I was working with my mom for 3 years, and I owe everything to my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Our office, when I was working with my mom, was at General Service Studios. It was a big movie studio, and they had many, many different television shows that were shooting, like Mr. Ed and Beverly Hillbillies. And they also had a lot of movies that were being shot at that studio as well. And by the way, a sidebar, our next door neighbor was George Burns, which really was fun, really fun. I owe so much to George. He used to see me in the hallway and slap me and, hey, kid, you're gonna be something. You're gonna be something. Oh, that was great. But anyway, Michael Landon happened to be on the set one day at General Service Studios. Of course, I didn't know him. You know, I was a very young
Right.
kid. Maybe I was 23 years old. So I just thought, I got to be a little aggressive. I walked up to him, I shook his hand. I gave him my business card. I said, Michael, if you ever have time, it would be such an honor to have lunch with you. I was a huge fan of Bonanza, and can we get together? So anyway,
Oh yeah.
I was fortunate. He did call me, and we had a lunch, and that's how it all began. So, I owe so much to him because my very first year when I was on my own, this is like 42 years ago. You can imagine as a young guy,
Oh yeah.
with a new PR firm, and here's Michael Landon as my client, gave me a lot of power. It was wonderful.
And then you land on the Tonight Show, which is an amazing story, and you get to be friends with Johnny Carson.
Yeah, that's right. And again, I really thank Michael Landon and the relationship. I did book Michael Landon on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and that evening after the show, Johnny Carson came backstage to Michael's dressing room, and he says, "Hey guys, how would you guys like to come over to my place in Malibu, my home, and we'll all have dinner. We'll have dinner." Now, again, maybe I'm 24 years old, and it's like, man, I'm getting invited to dinner at Johnny Carson's home in Malibu. I mean, it was like, my God, pinch myself, So
That's a crazy story. Now you've just booked another guy who's, I think he's funnier than he was good at quarterback, Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that relationship?
Yeah, I've been blessed, as you know, for 42 years. We've been booking so many different sports stars. You will get a kick out of this. The very first two sports stars that I ever booked, one was Jackie Robinson, then the second one was Muhammad Ali. So I've been very fortunate with sports stars, but I've always admired and respected Peyton Manning. He certainly was a great quarterback. He won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, we could go on and on with the statistics. So I have had the pleasure to book him, I'd say probably about a dozen times, but I got a call from Wells Fargo, which is interesting because I also bank with Wells Fargo. So that was nice. But anyway.
That always helps.
Yeah, that was great. So anyway, Scott, they had a big event that is staged in Maui. It's a couple of weeks before the Super Bowl, and they asked if they could book Peyton Manning. So anyway, long story short, I was fortunate to be able to book Peyton. But, Scott, and, I love you and your sense of humor, and you're such a consummate pro. It's great when I can book people like Peyton Manning because I know when they show up, they're going to deliver and do a great job. And by the way, when you were mentioning earlier some of the advertisements, I think some of those ads are absolutely hilarious that he's in. Aren't they great?
He's one of the funniest people. I don't watch commercials during football games or whatever.
Yeah.
I watch every single commercial Peyton Manning's in.
Well, they had one, Scott, that started airing about a month ago where he's in a store and, they're showing some football things. And anyway, at the end of that commercial, he gets out a coupon and he says, "Oh, here's a coupon. Will you take that?" It was just so funny because Peyton Manning, this multi-millionaire using a coupon. And then the newest one, which is also hilarious, he's calling a friend of his that's on his football team, the Broncos. And he says, "Hey, can we get together?" And of course, the football player says, "Hey, we got a game coming up or whatever." So Peyton Manning takes out his pencil and he says, "Well, tell you what, I'll pencil you in for next week." And, it was just so funny because here he is, he's not playing football anymore. So, yeah, those commercials are hilarious.
Papa John's has done a good job of managing that because every single thing he does is funny. All right, we got about a minute left in this. When we get back, I want to talk about UCLA Film School.
Yes.
And I want to talk about some of the people that you've had the honor of working with over the years. I wrote down a list. I went to your website and I started writing down the names of all my heroes.
Yes.
Because you've repped almost every single hero, and I see all the pictures behind, and I've been in your office, and it's a who's who of Hollywood, of celebrities, of entertainers, and they're all really cool people, and you've had a personal experience with every single one of them.
I have, and I appreciate it. I'll be happy to do that. In fact, I just looked behind me, and there's a funny one of Phyllis Diller, and she said, Bruce, you could book a leper with a hair lip. And, it's just so funny. So, yeah, I'll be glad to talk about all of that. I love it.
Okay, let me go ahead and give you your website one more time. All right, everybody write this down, because if you want one of the best speakers in the industry and you want to talk to one of the best guys doing it, it's CelebritySpeakersEntertainment.com. Let me go ahead and give you that book one more time. All right, this is Michael Landon. I was a big fan, so if you're a Michael Landon fan, his daughter Cheryl's written a great book. Go to Amazon and get it. I Promised My Dad. It's published by Pocket Books. Of course, you can always go by Amazon and pick these things up. Bruce, where's she going to be speaking, or are you allowed to say in California?
Well, we have one that is booked in Pomona, California, and it's for the Pomona Cancer Hospital, and that will be, I think it's January 5th. But anyway, as you know, Michael sadly died of pancreatic cancer, so anytime that she can talk to any audiences about cancer, she's not limited to that, but when there's a group that has people in that audience that deal in any way with cancer. And this is one of the most prestigious hospitals in the United States that treats cancer patients. So we're very excited about that one, Scott. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and if you get a chance, go on Bruce's Facebook page, Bruce Merrin, and I want you to look to the left, because one of the coolest people that ever existed in Hollywood is that really nice looking lady with Bruce. That is the person that taught Bruce everything he knows in the industry. She's still going strong. You still go to lunch with her on Sundays, don't you?
We just had Sunday brunch. Yeah, we had Sunday brunch. My mom will almost be 94 in December. She still drives her car every day, Scott. She's in great health. I mean, I could not be more blessed, because as I told you, I literally owe everything to my mom. So she's doing great. She's incredible.
Bruce, is there a place we can read her bio? Did she write it down?
I don't know that there's actually a bio. I've been telling her for years that she really should, write a book. It's always fun talking about celebrities. The very first week that I was working with my mom, and remember, I'm a UCLA Film School grad, I walk in the office, and the Oscar winner, Joan Crawford, is seated at my mom's desk. And again, I'm probably like 22 years old back then. And Joan Crawford gets up and gives me this huge hug. She says, Bruce, your mom is the best Hollywood press agent that I've ever had. So, that was like my welcome to working with my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Joan Crawford.
All right, Joan Crawford, as we get a break, Bruce Merrin's going to stick around for one more. Again, look him up on Facebook and go by his website, CelebritySpeakersEntertainment.com. I'm Scott Ferrell. That's Bruce Merrin. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
El Rey and Ella J.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in Elegy.
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited. Now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT. Now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down. Going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, America. The first ever $5 flavor menu is here, and it's a game changer. For just $5 each, you can get a medium one-topping pizza, Wing Street Wings, a Hershey's cookie, and your other Hut favorites. A Pizza Hut pizza for just $5. It's the ultimate crowd pleaser.
How are you feeling, crowd?
Very pleased, thank you.
We do what we can here.
$5 for a Pizza Hut pizza. How can we not be pleased?
Good crowd today.
The $5 flavor menu, America's best pizza deal, only at Pizza Hut.
Welcome back. Got a great guest. Bruce Merrin is with me. He said he could stay on. I got so many questions for Bruce every time he comes on. I don't have time to ask him all the questions. But the great thing is I just have him come back the next month and we get to talk about what he gets to talk about.
I love it.
To see Bruce and everything that he offers, go to CelebritySpeakersEntertainment.com. All right, Bruce, I want to get to a topic we talked about during the break.
Yes.
UCLA Film School, how cool it was to go there, and then how cool it was to go to work for your mother.
Well, first of all, as far as the film school, it was like a dream come true. You know, we lived in New York until I was 12 years old. I graduated 6th grade. Even in New York, I cannot tell you why, because, you know, at the time I was 6th grade, I said to my dad, I want to go to UCLA. So anyway, then you fast forward when I was a senior at Grant High School. And by the way, my best friend was Tom Selleck, talking about film. Best friend was Tom Selleck. But anyway, when I had to fill out all the forms for UCLA, I put down film school because I knew that's what I wanted. And I don't know how it works now, but literally I was still a senior at Grant High and I got my acceptance to the film school. So all I can tell you is anybody that has the privilege to go to the UCLA Film School, it is the greatest experience in one's life. They have great instructors, Scott, and I just loved every second that I was at UCLA. Just an amazing experience. Yes.
And now you get your degree, and your mom's one of the best at what she does in the PR world, and then mom offers you a job. What was that like?
Oh, I mean, I was so honored and privileged. What happened was when I graduated the film school, I was fortunate. I got a very good job at MGM Studios. I was working in the film distribution area with I was working with the head guy, and this was in the Thalberg building, which that was the legendary building at MGM for years. So anyway, my mom called me up at MGM and she said, look, Bruce, I know you're doing great at MGM, but she said, you know, going back to when you were in junior high and high school and at UCLA and even in the Army, you were always editor of all these different newspapers, and I know you're such a good journalist. My Hollywood PR firm is booming, and God, I would love to have you join me at my PR firm. So I didn't even think twice. I mean, you know, when you think back, I left my job at MGM and joined my mom, and honestly, it was the smartest thing that I ever did. And like I told you earlier, I totally owe everything to my mom.
So you go to work for your mother. How long were you with your mother before you went out on your own?
Well, I was with my mom exactly 3 years. And again, she was simply amazing. I mean, it was like a dream come true. But after the 3 years that I was with my mom, I just felt, and this was no disrespect to my mom, and she knows that to this day.
Oh, yeah.
She understands. It was like after 3 full years of working with my mom, I thought, you know, I'm a young guy. I think this is the time for me to start my own company. And I had my mom's blessings. And as you know, she's almost 94 years old, and we have the most loving relationship. So it was the right time. But again, without those 3 years with my mom, I never, ever could have had my own company. So that's why I'm so, so thankful to my mom.
Well, let's go back to that best friend you just went past real fast. Magnum P.I. Tom Selleck's one of the best actors. I've always loved him. Were you guys buddies at UCLA?
Not at UCLA, but at Grant High and also Van Nuys Junior High. I first met him when, you know, back in California, we had the junior high first, which was 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then we went to Grant High as well. So, I mean, I knew him for a lot of years. When we were at Grant High, yeah, we were best buddies. He was a star athlete. I was on the track team in cross country and basketball. He was varsity basketball and varsity baseball. And I know you would have an appreciation for that. And if I remember back, he was all Valley in both of those areas. So he was a jock when he was in high school at Grant High. He was a jock, but nobody would have ever guessed back then that he would get into acting as he did, you know?
Oh my goodness, what an amazing thing. Now I went to your website, I saw all the people you booked. I want to ask you about a couple people.
Yes.
Charlton Heston.
Yes. Well, back, you know, when I first started my bureau, and again, being a UCLA film school grad, he was one of my idols because, of course, so many of the films that he has done. And by the way, I love Turner Classic Movie Channel now. But of course, everybody remembers Ben-Hur and so many of the other films he did. So when I had the opportunity, I think our first booking maybe was around 1974, somewhere in that time. As you know, with our company, very often we get requests to book celebrities. So when we had that request to book Charlton Heston, I was just absolutely thrilled. And when I went to him, fortunately, his schedule was such that he was able to do it. And what a gentleman. I've got to tell you, Scott, you know as well as I, whether it's in the sports stars or celebrities, some of them are just the most wonderful people. Other can be egomaniacs. Charlton Heston was just an angel. That's the only way I can describe him. He was a delight to work with and just absolutely loved him. So thank you for bringing that up. And you have another name.
I do. Bob Newhart. Oh. One of my favorites of all time.
Oh, me too. I mean, when you go back to Bob Newhart's television show, it was such a classic. And by the way, I'm going to tell you about Bob, but do you remember on his TV show, his secretary, and I'm blanking out on her name.
Yes.
We also booked her secretary many, many, many times, and she was great. Now, with Bob, you know, going back to the 70s, some people may remember and some may not, but he was also an incredible stand-up comic, and he used to guest on Carson and Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas all the time. So he was great because he was a TV star, but also a great stand-up comic. So again, the first time that I booked him, I still remember, was for Bank America in Los Angeles, and he came through and did just a great job. He has that very glib, dry sense of humor, which just goes over. Goes over so beautifully, Scott.
We've got a minute left. I got one more guy to ask about. Lou Ferrigno.
Oh my God! When you're talking about Lou, he to this day he lives in Santa Monica, and of course he came into you know, notoriety because of his bodybuilding, of course, way back in the day, and then of course you know, the Incredible Hulk. But what a nice guy for a guy that's so big with the muscles and all. He was always such a pleasure to deal with, and I got the chance to visit with him and his wife in Santa Monica. He always has done a great job, and all I can tell you is I love the Hulk. He's an amazing guy.
Lou's the reason I got into bodybuilding in my early teens. He's the reason I sustained it. And my buddy Chris Cuchero, who was Mr. California in '87, actually knew Lou, and Chris comes on my show. All right, Bruce, I'm going to give that book out one more time. Cheryl Landon, probably one of the coolest books you're going to read, because her dad, Michael Landon, was one of my favorite actors of all time, still is. I still watch all the reruns of Bonanza.
Oh, absolutely.
The name of the book was I Promised My Dad. She, if you want to know more about her or where she's going to be speaking, let me go ahead and give you Bruce's website, CelebritySpeakersEntertainment.com. Bruce, we got about 30 seconds left. If you could tell a young person who wants to do what you do right now, what would you tell them?
Okay, and by the way, we have to do a shout out to Little Joe on Bonanza, right?
Oh, you got it.
Little Joe.
That's right.
I would say to anybody who's young, the key thing that I would suggest is to follow one's passion, whatever your passion is. Now, if it's film, go to a great film school. But I think it's so important for people to really follow their passion and not just settle for something just to make make some money. Whatever your passion is, there's so many different areas that you can follow. So really, to follow one's dream, it starts with your passion. So I think sometimes have some private time and really give some pensive thought. What is your passion? And then do everything you possibly can to reach out to the people that might help make that dream come true.
Bruce Merrin's got 42 plus years in doing this. On top of that, then you add in his mom who did this. I think he knows what he's talking about. Let me give you his website one more time. CelebritySpeakersEntertainment.com. Bruce is the best at what he does. He also reps the best at what they do, and he also reps me. Congrats on the Peyton Manning booking. Cheryl Landon's book, it's going to be worth taking a look at. That is Bruce Merrin. He is the man in Hollywood and in Las Vegas and all over the world.
I appreciate it.
And I'm Scott Ferrell. You got it, and we'll be right back.
Thanks, Scott.